You can't just say, I want to grow. You've got to look at, okay, where am I today? Where do I want to go? Define that and say, okay, what's my path to success? That's where I come into play.
And then also sprinkle a little bit of passion, right?
You're going to need to sprinkle a little bit of passion.
It's a numbers game, right? You hear all the time, specifically in sales.
Only if you're delivering quality.
How do you actually achieve those referrals and the people that you've helped over the years?
Referrals are not magic. They have to be intentional. Yes, you do have to ask for them, but first and foremost, you have to deserve them.
Obviously, you had 20 years of experience. You came across so many companies. Like, what's the pattern?
People have forgotten that people buy from people.
Guys, welcome back to Content is Profit. Happy, what's today? Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I'm glad Katie's back. I have my days back. Thank God. Summertime.
I thought you said I miss my wife. I love her so much.
Not at all. No, I'm kidding. I do love her. I had a meeting this morning with Luca teachers, and we were talking about it. And I told them, this is the moment where you learn to appreciate your significant other so much more.
Interesting.
So very exciting that she's back.
I'm a clip. I already have 2 clips. This one for when I feel like doing something nice and showing it to Katie.
Blackmail me.
And the 5 seconds before when I feel like I need to blackmail you, I can show that to Katie too.
She knows exactly what I'm thinking. I've said both comments to her. She laughed, but roll her eyes. I'll let you guess which one is which. But enough of that. We have a special guest in the studio today. Mm-hmm. I'm very proud of this person, and we'll chat a little bit why, but she has a stellar reputation and clients are raving fans. I've seen this firsthand. Since 2009, 58% of client base has come from direct referrals and 63% of clients extend or repeat engagement. So
that's very nice.
Everybody listen, please, because you should be learning some stuff today.
We'll be taking notes.
We'll be definitely taking some notes. She's a seasoned business developer leader with over 20 years of experience in revenue growth and sales strategy. Ka-ching, ka-ching. And then she offers her expertise as revenue growth and business development leader, assisting organizations and achieving their sales objectives. And just recently, we've been working on a project together, which I'll let her kind of like share with us.
I like the little shimmy there.
Shimmy. Yeah. Please welcome, guys, the one and only Michelle Payne.
Let's go.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Yes, clap. Let's go.
We're excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Some people say you go also by the name of Michelle. You know?
Well, that's one of the many names.
One of the many names.
Yeah.
We're excited. We're very happy to have you. My brother's been working closer with you, so I feel like, he has more of that internal knowledge.
We're besties.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm super curious about all that, referrals part, which I'm sure we're going to dive into, but I'm going to let my brother kick it off here.
Well, first of all, Michelle, we met probably like a year ago or so.
It's been a little over a year.
Yeah. And you came here in the studio with your then co-host. And, I think a few months ago you came in and you're like, Luis, I'm ready to dive into the podcasting world full on gas.
She's like, I'm ready to spread my wings.
And on the content side, I've seen you develop immensely. We're going to obviously put your Go Grow show right below in the notes. So please, guys, go check it out. No, please, it's an order. Go check it out.
You're demanding. I like that.
Authority,
I've learned. I have to do it with him all the time. So
keep him along.
But apart from that, obviously, people will see your content. They'll see that you're incredible. We want to dive in here, especially on the referral side, right? Obviously, when it comes to selling a product or, dealing with customers on this, a lot of people want to ask the monetization aspect. And that back end or like that relationship with your customer is so important. But most people just focus on like the first sale, right? Everything they see online is like that first sale and not developing. So how do you actually achieve those referrals and that incredible rapport that you build with your customers and the people that you've helped over the years?
That's a great question. And referrals are not magic. They have to be intentional. And yes, you do have to ask for them. But first and foremost, you have to deserve them. And you have to give someone a reason to say, you know what? You have delivered value to me. I understand you. I understand your product or service. And I understand why I should share that value with someone else and why that's meaningful. So if you're not working with your client, your network colleague, anyone that you're looking to partner with and want to be referral partners, then you don't have the right to ask for a referral. So when I develop those relationships with a client, I really want to understand what it is they need, how I can deliver that for them, help them grow. And in the course of conversation, who else do you know that can benefit from what I do?
Yeah.
I have a question here. You said you need to deserve it, right?
Yeah.
How do you know at which point you deserve it, right? Because I feel like some people might want to look for, so maybe they have a product that takes a while to deliver results, and my initial thought would be that people think they deserve it when they deliver results, right? Again, my initial thought, it might not be that, but when is a good point for them, to, again, say, I think I have earned the right to ask for a referral? Is it, great customer service, again, on a product that maybe takes a while to give results? Or is it when you get the results, right? I don't know if there's any other scenarios in there.
That's a great question. And think about what situation it is. Now, if you're selling an item, a widget, a transactional deal, obviously at the point of that transaction, you're going to ask for that referral. Hey, who else do you know that needs a red chair?
Yeah.
Who can you imagine that doesn't have a place to sit and they like the color red?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you are giving a customized software solution, it is just ingrained throughout that entire process. I mean, you're asking questions about their business, their pains, how we can bring them solutions. So it is proving your value each and every day, just the way you interact, the way you ask the right questions, the way you understand their business. And it should be part of the process of saying, wow, this is what I'm seeing in the industry that people are dealing with. I'm guessing you've probably talked to some of your peers. What are they saying? Who is that? Because that's somebody I should probably talk to as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, think about if Fonzie, if somebody was building a house, would they wait until they were done and moved into the house before the builder could say, do you have a referral for me?
I mean, I don't know, probably throughout the process. I haven't built a house, so I don't know. I'm putting myself in the shoes. Like me as a customer, I would want to refer, especially if I'm referring to other people that, they trust me and all that. Like after I seen the value of the end product.
Yeah.
That being said, if the value of the process is very high, I think my conclusion is going to be the end product is going to be good because this relationship is so well, they take care of us so good. They ask all these questions, these details. Like my assumption is going to be the end product is going to be incredible. So probably I would be more apt to do the referral throughout the process before the house is done. But I'll let you know when I buy a house and, build it from scratch. I have a great
realtor, a great mortgage lender.
There we go.
Just went through this process.
Yep. There we go.
I remember now, like I remember this analogy, right? Like, we look at my 5-year-old, he loves these like little pieces of gum that, he earns with reading, right? To chew for a little bit. So, he'll ask for this gum and then let's say I give him a couple, right? He just gets a couple. But for the sake of the example, we're going to do more gum. So I end up giving him 5 pieces of gum, right? And then maybe I'll take one back. He might not be mad at me because I took that one, but if I gave him one and then I took away that one, he might get like really mad. So the way I picture it with the asks, right? Like the more value we give, the more, maybe updates, the more like, hey, here's the process or here are the things. Those are like the little pieces of candy that we might be giving. And then with that ask, be like, hey, do you know anybody that this could be useful for? That's the ask. That's where we take the candy away. So the more we give, the more also room that we have to get those asks And I like that analogy a lot because we use it for our podcast, right? Like we have incredible guests just like you here today, right? And at the end of the process, which by the way, if you haven't checked out the last episode, go check it out because we do that process. One of the questions is like, well, first, like, what else can we do for you?
Always.
Right? So that's has been really good. And then we also ask for, hey, do you know anybody that could be a good fit for the show? And in our specific case, a good fit for the show is not only a good fit for content, but also a good fit for an opportunity down the road. It could be referrals, it could be clients, it could be speaking engagements, events, like all these things that could lead to more business. So in our case, like the podcast and the assets and the experience and all those are the little pieces of candy to then go do those asks. And it tends to be really good and we get really good response. So I think like on that side, it's very exciting to experiment. And if you haven't done it, you're listening, go try it out.
Yeah.
On the sales side, right? I think like if you put the sales word ahead in front of it, a lot of people might get intimidated just because it's like a sales process. Do you find that? Because I remember when we first started, like just the sheer fact of going cold on somebody and be like, hey, we offer this service. Like it was very intimidating.
Yeah.
Right? So do you find like in the companies that you help, obviously you had 20 years of experience, you came across so many companies, like what's the pattern, right? Are people like intimidated doing that? Is that something that maybe they just forget because the process is pointing them somewhere else?
People have forgotten, and I'm saying this is a huge generality.
Yeah.
People have forgotten that people buy from people. They don't say, hey, somebody's knocking on my door, I'm going to answer it and see what they want to sell me. They need to realize that every single transaction, every single introduction, every single sale begins with a relationship. And if you don't treat me as a person and, hit those Maslow's 7 basic needs, then I'm going to have no motivation or interest in even speaking with you, let alone developing a business relationship or helping you in a way that doesn't help myself.
Yeah.
So when I made a big shift in my business over the last couple of years, and it pushed me to do a tremendous amount of networking. This was right around 2.5 years ago. And that push made me proactively kind of get out of my comfort zone and join a lot of different networking meetings online. And, I started moving out into in person as well. And I would schedule not only those great big virtual 60 person on a Zoom call meetings, but I would go out of my way and schedule one-on-one calls. I would have 5 or 6 meetings a day, 3 or 4 days a week. So you're talking 20 to 30 calls a week.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised how many people would say, well, what is it you wanted to talk about? Why were you interested in talking to me?
Wow.
I'm like, well, I just wanted to understand you and your business better and see how I can support you and your network.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, you're human. I'm human.
Yeah.
We both have businesses. And I always start off by saying, how can I help you? And then they talk and they talk and they talk and they talk.
Yeah. And that would lead to a solution, right? That it could be you, a connection, possibly, right?
Possible. But at the end, I kind of wait and they're like, okay, well, thanks for reaching out. And I'm like, okay, well, to wrap up, is there anyone in particular I can introduce you to? Is there anything particular I can do for you? Well, no, I can't think of anything. And I'm waiting for them to say, was there anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they don't say it, I'll say, well, the one way that you could help, if you so choose, is this is the kind of person I would like to meet that I could add value to.
Yeah.
And people just don't think those ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who taught you that? Like, do you remember like initially, was it, because we've noticed, right? And I think with the different personalities that we've had on the show that, more people are more proactive when it comes to like human relationships, right? So if like maybe they grew up with a certain type of background, that makes it easy for them to relate to other people, right? Like I remember in our case when we first started the show, the reason we do conversations is because we love it so much, right? We're like, we love meeting new people. We love learning new things. But as we started to help others, right, that's something that for us was maybe a second nature, as in like, we're having a conversation about this topic. Yeah. For others, that was not the case. It was like they felt like very intimidated by it, or they're like, I'd rather do something else, or I don't know what to say. And then for us, like in our minds, like initially it was like, well, but it's so simple. You ask these questions that you're curious about. But for them, that meant that they needed to like level up their skills at some point, right? So something that came natural to us initially, which by the way, there's a lot of other things that don't come natural, so we have to learn. But that specific example, that's what it is. So I feel like with you, that part of relationships was something that was natural, and it just happened that your career path went that way. Maybe I'm wrong.
You would be shocked to know that I am just now admitting that I'm not an introvert. I've always considered myself an introvert.
Just like Fonzie.
Well, actually, I think I got both, but when he's in the room, I like to observe because he likes to talk a lot. So I'm like, you do the talking, you go do your thing.
Well, thank you for the space.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I like having my space.
Yes.
But yeah, I would always, and there's been many things over the last, 5, 6, 7 years that have kind of shifted in my life, shifted my priorities, shifted my focus. And it's bringing me out of the shell. A lot of that's been this podcast, actually. Nice. It has been. But as far as, what made me be that people focused and that, how can I help you? I think a lot of it for me was just a generational thing, a family thing. An educational thing. I went to private high school, grade school, college. And I mean, it's just the way people treated each other. Yeah. For some of us, it's a cultural thing, just very warm and social. So in the digital age now, I think people lose that. It's very short to the point, text.
Yeah.
Rather than, I'm an email girl. And I talk too much. Makes me a natural podcast person.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But if you break it down, so, content is profit. So if you're going to develop those relationships, ask for those referrals, keep those repeat customers coming back to you and back to you and back to you, and generate revenue and profit, you've got to have good content. And that relationship is the content you deliver.
Yeah.
So whether it's a podcast with tips, tricks, the latest algorithm for how to monetize something or productize and get your voice out there, or if it's delivering a professional service or whatever the case may be, people buy from people, and you are your product. You are your brand. So you are your content, and you've got to create your profit based on your relationships.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go into the AI because that's a whole different topic, but I feel like there's a constant optimization of relationships, outreach, all that stuff. I personally think we're going into people will want more human connection just because they won't know whether they're talking to a machine or somebody else. Honestly, when I get messages and I can tell you didn't craft this, or, I'm just part of another number, another big list that, you're hitting. It's personally for me is a turnoff. So I do enjoy more of that personable, right? Yeah. Now, the other side of the equation is it's a numbers game, right? You hear all the time, specifically in sales, right? You need to have a lot of conversations and all these things. So there we go. I'm curious. What is your point of view on that?
It's a numbers game only if you're delivering quality. So if you have 1,000 at-bats and you have a blindfold on, how many are you going to hit?
All of them.
Very few, probably.
Not many.
I'm not going to hit any because I'm going to be like, But if you go to a batting cage every day for 3 hours for 3 months, and you have a coach, and you concentrate, and you set yourself a goal, then how many are you going to hit? A lot more.
A lot, yeah.
So it takes focus. It takes understanding what you're doing. It takes training. It takes coaching and a purpose. So it's not a numbers game. You need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you go out into the middle of a lake and you go out on a rubber raft and you have a pole with a string on it, you go out there for an hour and say, well, I didn't catch any fish. Fishing is dead. Okay, well, I didn't have the right equipment. I never learned how to fish.
Yeah.
I went to a polluted ocean or a polluted pond. You know, you're not setting yourself up for success. So it's not a numbers game. And when people say that sales is a numbers game and that cold calling is dead and that the outreach is automated, okay, well, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. I love that because, well, first of all, Fonzie went this weekend to Orlando to a place that there was no fish, or the fish were trained enough that were being fished.
They were trained?
It was the first time I feel like fishing has been a scam in my life. Yeah, I mean, luckily the bait wasn't too expensive, but they're like, yeah, there's a fishing pond over there, and you cast it.
Did it have goldfish in little bowls?
No, it's like a big pond, but you cast this thing and immediately you're like, oh, they're biting. This is good. We're gonna get some fish in here. And then you pull out the line, and literally they would eat everything except for the part of the worm that was on the hook. And you're like, all right, let me try again. Yeah. And then finally, after like an hour, my friend that was there with me, he caught something. It was like a fish 2 inches. It's like too big. I'm like, there's no way this fish know what they're doing.
Which is funny because at some point when we're like in this sales journey or content journey, right? Like some groups and relationships feel that way, right?
Yeah.
Like they know the tactics, they know the tricks, and they'll walk around it. You know, a good example of this is like you give a lead magnet, you have your product out there and people are downloading them, but maybe with the wrong email, or like they just put a phone number that you need to, you know, maybe text them and give them more resources, but maybe they put a fake number, right? Like those are those fish, you know, biting the bait and not really grabbing the hook.
Yeah.
So I think a very big shortcut, and I love the fact that you say like sales is not a numbers game, because like for a long time, that was a belief that we had. Remember initially when we first started selling social media services, door to door, right? I remember one day that I go out to my job and Foster's like, this is the day I make all the calls, right? And we sell stuff, and he had his headset on thing. And then I come back a few hours later and he's still like pacing in the room, and it was like very intimidating, right? It was the first time. And I don't know how many calls you did, but we closed nothing. And that, we're so new in this game. But, even if we can't go past like situations like that because they're so intimidated, and on top of that, we might not have the best resources, what got at least us unstuck and we seen other people too is the conversations with the right people. The first time that we did the 45 Live Challenge, which was we're trying to publish a piece of content a day for 45 days straight on Facebook Live. We did a very small call to action where it's like, hey, we just need 5 people to have a conversation with about this topic. And we'll give you, we'll share the, what we learned so far. 20 people decided to book a call on that very first thing. And those 20 people gave us the information that we needed to execute the service that we still do today, which is crazy. Out of that conversation, out of relationships. Yeah. And these were all people that we met in person at an event that were following what we were doing. So it led to a massive opportunity down the road that has helped us kind of grow the business. So I love the fact that you're sharing this story, because, it's about the resources, it's about your tools, it's about the right medium. Yeah. Right.
Well, speaking of that, I want to give you, a little adjacent information. Yeah. So if you're putting lead magnets out there or any type of content and you're getting fake phone numbers, phantom emails or anything like that, you're targeting the wrong audience. If it's a good audience for you, they're going to want your content and want to be able to be reached for future information.
Yeah.
If they're giving you just a one-off to grab your information, they're not a prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother has that problem since college. He'll go to bars. All the girls would give him phantom emails. You know, he was that weird one that would ask for emails at the bar.
That is a lie.
But he's so cute.
Thank you. That is true. That's a lie. That's true. Okay. I've been dating Katie since 2011. And man, you know, first hook, I got her. She's the best.
What kind of bait were you using?
Myself. Me, I'll be like
The Hispanic bait.
The accent. Yeah. You know, for her, like poutine. The Canadians love poutine. So I just put a poutine out there. Do you know what poutine is?
Sounds like
So French fries and gravy?
She loves that. Yeah, we don't eat it often, but every time we see poutine somewhere, she's like, "I want
a little bit of cheese on top."
Dude, I thought about the Russian president Putin. I was like, wow, didn't know she was into that.
She was into that. Nope, definitely the food. You were right, Michelle.
My mother's husband is French Canadian, and the first time I experienced that was interesting.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's, you know, she orders her thing, she eats just a little bit, and then I finish the plate. I'm like, oh, but she put that bait on me. That's what it was.
The reverse bait.
The reverse
That's what
bait.
it's called.
Yeah. So, you know, Michelle, as you know, we get to the end of the second part of the episode, right? So, you know, today through Revenue Chasers, your new platform, which is revenuechasers.com. Go check it out. So good. You are providing startups and scaling organizations with tailored strategies, right?
Yes.
And tools, which is what we were just talking about, to drive business growth. What are a lot of people that listen, they might be, you know, solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that are doing their thing. It might be on the side, but we also have some awesome B2B people that listen.
Right.
What are some of the most common problems, maybe the top two like issues and friction points that you see in these organizations that you help them unlock and move things forward?
The common issues I find is either it's a lack of passion, a lack of knowledge, or a lack of resources. So oftentimes people will start a business because, hey, this should make me a lot of money. And it's just not something that moves them and drives them and keeps them invested. So if they are encumbered by having to do everything that they don't love, and maybe they've fallen out of love with the reason they went into business, I can help them make sense of all of that so they fall in love with their business again, or help them make their business into something they do love. Okay. More likely it's going to be a lack of knowledge or a lack of resources. So the resources, training, tools, coaching that I provide are based on a lot of the fundamentals, because many of my clients are solopreneurs, startups, and scale-ups. So they're right at that point where they have some barriers to growth and they want to get to that next level, whether it's from 1 million to 5 or 5 to 10 or 10 to 20, whatever that may be. Maybe they're at 50 and they want to go to 100 million.
Yeah.
But they can't get over that hump. That's where I come in.
Yeah.
And so we'll look at the fundamentals. Many of them don't know who exactly they should be selling to, how they should be selling. Maybe they have operational challenges. They may say, well, we need more sales. So we'll do a deep dive assessment. No, you don't need more sales. Your problem's over here. You're leaking all your revenue. And then the last one is lack of resources. So maybe they don't have bandwidth.
Yeah.
And I will help them find whether it's technology, human resources, human capital, sometimes they'll call it, or any type of supplemental growth opportunities that is going to help them get where they need to be.
Cool.
So if I were to do a self-assessment, right, of my business, when you say looking at the fundamentals and then, you know, maybe spotting what is the problem, or let's say the best point of leverage right, for me to have an initial growth, right? What would that self-assessment, like, how would that self-assessment look like? What would be the questions I would guide myself through to find that point of leverage that I could, take action right now?
It's interesting you asked that because right after this recording, I'm recording a module for a training session, which is strategic planning.
Ooh, look at that.
And it's all about determining what your goals are and how to reach them. Yeah. So that is the first step. You want to grow. Okay, define that. How do you want to grow? Do you want to grow revenue? Do you want to grow your product line? Do you want to grow your number of customers? Do you want to grow your number of locations?
Yeah. My brother, his height. His height.
Well, I've got some nice boots.
I decided that I want to grow my belly.
I've got some experience there.
And now.
All right. So let's go back to define the growth.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and your
you
goal.
have to define specifically how do you want to grow? Why do you want to grow? What are those specific parameters? SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound.
Yeah.
And then you have to break it down to say, okay, well, where am I in my current state? And look at all the different areas of your business. So your financials, look at your data. Hopefully you have good data. If you don't, we need to get good data.
Yeah.
Every company has data. And if you don't have a good data plan, whether it's your CRM, whether it's your financials, whatever the case may be, that's usually the first starting point because you can't make data-driven decisions without data. You want to look at the competitive market, the industry and other competitors. You want to look at your customers' market. You want to look at the geopolitical, financial markets, all of that to say, okay, what's impacting my business today? What's going to impact it in the future? So you can't just say, I want to grow. You've got to look at, okay, where am I today? Where do I want to go? Define that and say, okay, what's my path to success? That's where I come into play.
And then also sprinkle a little bit of passion, right? Because if you're not passionate about what you're doing, all that's going to be really hard to start executing.
You're going to need to sprinkle a little bit of passion.
the whole
bucket.
Like
dump the whole thing.
The whole bucket.
Yeah. I'm a very passionate person. I love working with passionate people because that means that we're all in. Yeah. If somebody that wants to work with me is just going through the motions, I lose interest pretty quick. Yeah. And I'm at the point in my career that I want to work with people who want to work with me.
Yeah.
And one of the big changes that I've gone through and the kind of the refocus is, we mentioned the number of repeat clients I have, the percentage. When I started Sales Chasers, which has evolved into Revenue Chasers back in 2009, I still have clients from 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 still coming back to me.
So cool.
And the thing is, instead of working one-to-one with those clients, I want to reach out and work one-to-many, which is why I'm building content and taking all the content I've developed over the last 20 years and making it into products so that I can help the many. Yeah. So if somebody has that passion and wants to work with me, I can do it in the format they want, the budget they want, the pace they want.
Yeah. So awesome. And we're going to leave all the links right below. You got to just scroll with your little thumb or your favorite finger, click on it. Yeah. Fonzie?
I'm just going to say, I hope you scroll with your thumb. If you find yourself scrolling with your index,
your pinky, with your pinky.
I don't know.
If you scroll with your pinky, let me know.
You don't want to sprain your finger.
Not trying to be too mean, but you might be a little old in there, just kind of like with your.
Well, if you ask Luca, dude, I don't know. He likes to scroll with his tongue for some reason. I don't know. It's weird.
I think it's from his father.
That's a new generation. He must have picked it up from somewhere. Just saying.
Yeah, he knows I don't like dirty phone screens. So, he does the opposite. But anyways, Fonzie or Michelle, any last thoughts that you want to share with everybody here on the show?
The only thing that I want to leave with is y'all are incredible.
Thank you.
You are. When I started my relationship with you and my initial co-host, Dasha Tishlik, we came here to get some production help. We knew nothing about podcasting. We thought, oh, well, we can do it ourselves. But, when we want guests, we'll have them do it in here. You are wizards. You are the greatest guides, Sherpas, if we shall say, through the podcasting world. I love that I am now a retained client for you because it has helped me. It has helped me grow in my understanding. I always coach my clients, don't just outsource something. If you don't have a working knowledge that you can at least speak the language when somebody else is helping you make a decision, you can't make that decision.
No.
You've got to understand the basics of language, and you've taught me that. And you're still teaching me that. I listened to your podcast 537 on my way over here.
I think
500 freaking episodes.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you guys for being the resources that you are, the giving souls that you are.
Thank you.
And for helping me propel my business forward.
Thank you, Michelle.
And helping me grow.
Let's go. Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. And you've pushed us in ways that are incredible also internally for us to continue to grow and be better as a business. And I appreciate you coming in, and I'm sure everybody here listening will get some golden boulders, as we call them here on the show. And
just like golden nuggets, just way bigger. I need to trademark that one.
I'm going to steal it before you trademark it.
That needs to be a show. We need the retail with like all our phrases. But yeah, Michelle, we love you. We're honored that you come here to the studio and, choose us to help you with this. And, it's just a matter of time that, you make this incredible impact. You're already doing it. So I'm excited.
I appreciate that.
And tonight we have an awesome networking event. Yes. So I'm going to see you in action. I'm going to be taking notes and be like, but yeah, Fonzie, any last thoughts?
No, I just want to invite you listening right now to go through the self-assessment, right, that Michelle shared, and listen again to the episode, take some notes, and of course, reach out to Michelle, if you have any more questions or you need some guidance on your strategy to go grow.
That's right. Guys, with that said, thank you so much for tuning to the Contents Profit Podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and on social media at BizBrosCo.
That is right. If Michelle here helps you take one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share this episode. And of course, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.